good afternoon to you all. My name's Anand Keshav and we bring to you the race preview for the running of the Indian Derby Grade 1 to be run this Sunday, 5th February here at the Mahalakshmi Racecourse. Along with me I have Mr. Nirat Karanjawala and Mr. Mohit Lalwani, our great experts, to run you through the running of the Indian Derby Prime Contenders. Welcome Nirat.
Well, thanks Anit. It's good to be on the show. Thank you Mohit. Yes, we've got five prime contenders for this year's Indian Derby, which is a real big field of 19 horses. Let's hope that the good horses don't get into any traffic problems. That could be a little detrimental for them, you know. Let's start off with, let's say, Supernatural first. We go with Supernatural. He's won the Ramnivas Ruya by a neck beating ahead of my time, no doubt about that. And I just think that he will take a lot of beating. Only thing is he runs a little off the pace, and if he's going to be sitting way off the pace in this 19-horse field, he's going to have a lot of traffic problems weaving through them.
Your next contender, King's Ransom.
Well, she's done nothing wrong, winning 3 Group 1s, the Pune Derby, the Indian 1000 and the Indian Oaks. I think she's definitely got the best chance, I would think so, over Supernatural. She's done nothing wrong. She sits well up on the pace, so she's not going to have too much of traffic problems, and P.S. Chavan till today has never won an Indian Derby, so hopefully he's all out to win this one.
Now, interestingly, except for Mira, the 5 horses that we're discussing on this episode are all horribly drawn. In fact, Supernatural is the worst drawn of all. Imperial Power also drawn wide, and that's going to play a bit of it's going to be a bit of a factor, I feel. Imperial Power is 17. Once You Go Black is 14. Supernatural is 19. King's Ransom is 15. Mira is the only one who's 5. So we're talking about the Pacey Shroff duo now, King's Ransom and Supernatural. Look, it's hard. It was hard for me to separate between the two, but Supernatural is the winner of the Bangalore Summer Derby. I took a look at them. I took a look at that race, and for me, what didn't make sense is I don't think either of them got a great ride. In fact, 700 meters from home, Supernatural got checked. King's Ransom traveled wide around the bend. And she kind of just lost her footing out there for a moment, I thought, before she could run on it. For a moment, it looked like she wouldn't even hit the board, leave alone run second. But she did finish on nicely to run second. She's won over a mile and a half. He hasn't. That's an edge to her. But you know, he's a colt who's progressively going to get better as he goes further. So I'm giving him the edge over the filly, but my gosh, it's not been easy at all. And to tell you the truth, I think the luck of the race, the run of the race is going to matter, because these 4 who are drawn on the wide outside are not going to find it easy to go out and get an early position. There's going to be a rush round to the first turn, the Hornby Bellard corner, and it's not going to be easy for them. They're going to have to either travel wide, which isn't the best thing to do, or miss the kick and find a way to switch off. Again, that means they've got to improve their position up the back stretch, because they've got to be in striking position once they start turning for home, which means they've got about really a few furlongs between the 7 furlong marker and the 6 furlong marker to improve their position. I think draw is going to, and run of the race because of the draw, is going to play a big factor in this, I feel, not to mention that there are at least 10 horses here that shouldn't be in this race, and they're going to start falling back, so making sure they don't encounter any traffic trouble is going to be extremely critical. For me, between the Pacey Shroff duo, I've gone with Supernatural. Really, it wasn't easy to choose between the two, but I've gone with Supernatural over the filly.
Well, I have Supernatural and King's Ransom. Both horses are well bred and they've performed well. Supernatural just won the Ruya. He just won by, I think, a head or a short head. And King's Ransom has done nothing wrong. She's won the Indian 1000 and the Oaks. I do understand that she hasn't clocked a great timing, and this is the first time she's really going to compete against all the colts after the Bangalore summer season. But she is a talented filly, and I think with a little bit of luck, the horses should be right there. You can't really say that they definitely win, because there are other good horses, a lot of other good horses in the race. There's Once You Go Black. He's a really nice horse and he stays very well. So yes, I mean, everyone's done their best and we'll see how it goes.
I'm riding King's Ransom. She's a nice filly. Till now she has done good performance. She's done well, and we are hoping for best that she will do well in the Derby also.
Our next prime contender being Once You Go Black.
He had a bit of a setback before he ran the Ruya. That's why he skipped the 2000 guineas. And when he ran the Ruya, he did get a bit of interference out of the gate, so he was not too settled, but he came on with a big run that day to run a decent third. He's got Sandesh riding him. It's a big field and he tends to take a good hold. So Sandesh needs to drop him out behind horses, because if he cannot drop him behind horses, he's going to try and tear away with Sandesh, which is definitely going to be his undoing.
Once You Go Black, he's an interesting horse now. You know, he's got a lot of class. There's no question about it. But he kind of plugs on as well. He grinds it out at the post. We saw that over in Mysore. The interesting thing is his Ruya run was after quite a layoff. He hadn't really had much work going into this race, and he still finished 2 lengths off from Supernatural. He wasn't given a hard ride. If you notice, Sandesh really hasn't even picked up a stick on him at all, and he's nursed him to be ready for the Indian Derby. He's one who we know will stay. You know, I don't think there's a question about his ability to stay. He's my win legend. So, you know, I think he will stay. Has he improved more than Supernatural will by going that extra 400 meters? That's interesting. That's an interesting question. I actually think the race is between the two. I think the filly will run third. So for me, it's between Supernatural and Once You Go Black. Hard again to choose between the two, but only because Supernatural has won, in my mind, the best lead up, I should say, to the Indian Derby, which in my mind is the Bangalore Summer Derby, which is why I've gone for him.
He's been one of the top horses since he was a baby. Yeah, he's always performed well when he's had his chance to run. He's been very unlucky. He got withdrawn from the Summer Derby when he shouldn't have been. He missed the 2000 guineas here because of a fever, but he's always performed well. I don't think he's ever run a bad race, really.
I'm riding Once You Go Black, James horse. His form is very good. He won the Mysore Derby and unlucky to Bangalore Port Styles and Mysore 2000 guineas. And here also he came and after a long layoff, finished 4th in the Ruya Cup within 2 lengths. That is his works now. He's working well. We are prepared for the Derby race.
He's travelling well?
Yeah, he's travelling well.
Next prime contender, Imperial Power.
Well, Imperial Power came with a big reputation last as a juvenile. He's won the juvenile breeders over here, which was the Manjri Million. He got beat in the Poonawalla Million, but he's gone to Calcutta and he's turned around and he's won the Calcutta Monsoon Derby. He missed the Calcutta Derby for reasons best known to the connections. He's definitely got a decent chance, but I just think today Supernatural, King's Ransom may be a little out of his compass.
Imperial Power, now he's coming off a second over a mile in the Calcutta Gold Cup, and he's the winner of the Calcutta Monsoon Derby. Now, generally I would have preferred something slightly stronger by way of form to come out and win the Indian Derby over a mile and a half. He's bi-multidimensional, shouldn't have a problem staying. He should get the trip well enough. But again, I think he's got to find the class to come out and beat this lot. He came second to Jake last time, just about, but I think you've got to do better than that if you want to win the Indian Derby.
Well, Imperial Power is here from Calcutta. He's done everything right for me from the time I've taken him over. He had a minor setback before the Calcutta Derby, so we skipped this Calcutta Derby to run the Indian Derby. He's travelled very well. He's working very well. He's very happy with himself, eating very well, and I'm sure he's going to run a very big race.
One of our last 5 prime contenders being Mira.
Well, Mira's won the Bangalore Oaks, beating Larine, who came out and won the Bangalore Derby very impressively, I would say. You had Philosophy running third in that race, but I think Mira might find it a little tough because this set is definitely much tougher than the set she ran in the Oaks. The Oaks was not a very hot set, but taking nothing away from the filly, she should put up a bold show.
Well said, Niraj. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's Nirad Karanjawala's views on the 5 prime contenders for this year's Indian Derby Grade 1 to be run on Sunday. Let's take Mohit Lalwani's views. Mohit, over to you.
Okay, Mira, a really interesting filly out here. Looked at 3 goals and 2 fillies. These are the top. Of course, you do have ravishing form. I do think he's an outsider in this race, so I wouldn't want to count him out. But we're going to talk about Mira right now from Bangalore, because she not only came out when stepped up over 1.5 miles for the first time to come out and win the Oaks by a handsome margin, 5 lengths or so. The horse that ran second to her came out and won the Bangalore Winter Derby. Now, is that good enough form to come out and win the Indian Derby? She's worked very well. I took a look at her track work and I think she's moving very well. Arjun's a super trainer. She's a well-bred filly. Speaking of which, out of Myrtlewood, she's certainly done nothing wrong. She's found the right range, I believe, in her trip. And over 1.5 miles, she's the best drawn. So I have a feeling she might be the right one to follow if something can slot in behind her and try and tackle her up the straight. It's a long Bombay straight. You have to stay. You have to have a turn of foot. You've got to have that perfect balance between speed and stamina, and that's what makes a thoroughbred so special.
Well, Mira is bred in the purple. She's, by speaking of which, out of Myrtlewood, who ran second in the Indian Derby. So she's definitely got the pedigree, everything to win the Indian Derby. And it's a competitive race, as I said, and we're looking forward to it. It's owned by the breeder of the horse, so she obviously thought it was special. That's why she decided to keep her. She's named the filly after her spiritual guru, so that means a lot. There's a lot of pressure on her and me to do well. Fortunately, we've banked a classic. We won the Oaks, and I'm hoping to follow Amazing Bay's route to the Indian Derby and win it.
So you've heard it from our 2 great experts, Mr. Nirad Karanjawala and Mr. Mohit Lalwani, on our 5 prime contenders for the Indian Derby this Sunday. We can only wait and watch as to what transpires on Sunday evening at the Mahalakshmi Racecourse. All you need to do is be at the RWITC Limited on Sunday at the Mahalakshmi Racecourse. See you at the races.